All right, so I like to have some visuals up while I'm reading these for you guys, since I can't interact as much during the podcast segment. I think it's nice for you guys to have some visuals and be able to follow along as well. So we'll pull this up here. We're going to be first reading today from Aralim again. We just read about him yesterday, where he met Mirish, and he was in Lantern Town, and they were preparing to set out aboard the Cloud Trader, it was called. So I'll leave the map down here at the bottom. And then fortunately I also have some character art, which looks great for Aralim. Here we learned about the importance of lanterns as a symbol to his religion. And so we have here Aralim and Mirish within this lantern. I think at some point I'm going to get these set up so that I can just have them as overlays on the stream, and I won't have to fight with my layout constantly with you guys while we're live here. I'll just be able to toggle, each character's artwork onto the screen. All right. There we go. So yesterday we read Aralim 1, and that was on the second of the sixth moon. So this next chapter will be 3 days later. Let me just get some more water ready here. Once we can get emotes and stuff, I'll have to have a little drink water emote, and then people can remind me, hey, you gotta drink. All right. Aralim 2, 5th of the 6th moon, years since Orish, 1478. The captain of the Cloud Trader was a tall, white-haired man, with skin weathered by the sun and salty wind. He was called Angal of Tavrok. He took Aralim's hand, nodded to Mirish, and greeted the other passenger, a tanner who was moving to Beleza, where his family was. The captain took the time himself to show them to their quarters, where they would stay for their month-long journey to the port of Beleza. After he let them put their packs inside, he said, "Can I speak to you in the corridor?" The Cloud Trader was a 2-decked ship with a mess hall, 6 cabins, and a large cargo room. "What is it?" Aralim asked. Angal lowered his voice. "It don't matter to me any more than as a security, but I must ask, is the girl your daughter?" "No, she's a walker of the path, just as I am," Aralim said. "Ah, of course," Angal returned. As he walked away, Aralim heard him say, "Darn religious nuts." Aralim stepped back into his cabin, and Mirish asked, "Can I have the top bunk?" "Of course, little one," Aralim said, leaning his lantern staff in the corner. There was no need for it on board the ship, for they knew his religion. Aralim had agreed to help out on the ship to pay for his passage, but though the tanner did not. After the ship left port, Angal put Aralim to work in the mess hall. The chef put him to work cleaning and later cutting fish for their meal. The crew stuck to themselves, even at dinner, so Aralim, Mirish, and the tanner, Jolas, ate together. Jolas explained that he was going to meet his wife Betsa and their son, both of whom he had paid for passage individually. He was moving to Beleza because of a lack of business in Lantern Town. He asked how long Aralim and Mirish had been journeying together. Aralim shrugged. "A few days," he said. Jolas nodded. "So you met in Lantern Town?" Mirish piped up. "I've always wanted to go north," she said. After they left the mess hall, Aralim collapsed on his bed, tired. It had been a long day. Mirish started to climb up to her bunk, but then came back down and said, "I think they aren't just traitors." Her voice was quiet, and her words calculated. Aralim sat up. "I'd imagine most aren't." "I found a trapdoor in the cargo area, and there's a bunch more boxes behind there," Mirish said. "Oh, so they're smugglers," Aralim said. "That explains our cheap fare, and the number of passengers." "Aren't you worried?" Mirish asked. "What if they sell us too?" Aralim shrugged. "It's best not to worry where my path will lead," he told her. "What would be the point of smuggling us if they have jewels to smuggle?" Mirish shook her head and went to the door. "Should I come with you?" Aralim asked. "It could be dangerous." "I think I can handle it," she said, rolling her eyes. "I'm just going to find out what they're smuggling." "I'd better come along," Aralim decided. Together they went down the corridor, without closing the door, in case it made too much noise. Once they were in the cargo hold, they could relax a bit. Mostly the cargo hold consisted of food, a shelf of tools, and a big pile of timber. Aralim looked in one box that held a large folded canvas, perhaps a sail. Back here, Mira said. She showed him the trapdoor, a small section of wall that moved inward on well-oiled hinges. Inside was a number of big wooden crates with hinges on one side. Aralim checked the first one. "It's a keg," he said. Mirish quickly confirmed that the others were too. It was alcohol. Those heathens. Alcohol isn't good for one's mind. "What do you mean? We all drink it," Mirish said. "You're 11, Aralim exclaimed. She raised her eyebrows and gave him a childish expression of offense. "Homeless for years, remember?" "Alcohol can muddle the path," he insisted. Mirish said, "Let's talk about this when we're not in a smuggler's hold." She led the way back to their cabin, carefully closing all the doors behind them. They had close to a month's journey ahead of them, with a cargo hold full of such a substance, and Aralim's companion knew more about it than he did. As he dozed off, he couldn't help but wonder where the path was taking him next. Alright, so there's Aralim, Chapter 2. A bit of a shorter one, but some of the time the characters are just journeying from point A to point B. And as I'd explained in one of the previous streams, Gethra unfolds in real time. So if it takes, like Aralim said, if it takes a month or two to get to Belesa, when these chapters were releasing on my website, the chapter where they're in Belesa wouldn't have been released until a month or two later. So everything kind of unfolded at a realistic pace. So maybe we'll see another travel update with them, or maybe we won't hear from them again until they're there.